Jai Shri Krishna. Good afternoon, this webinar on the topic Emerging Challenges in Indian Financial System. It is a moment of extreme pleasure to welcome our Honorable Resource Person, Ms. Uma Bhaskar, former Vice President of BFSI sector, and also she have 26 years of experience in corporate sector. Right now, she is visiting professor for various institutions, and also she has FAME Award of Pride of Bank, Gaurav Chakra, Yuani of South Zone, Golden Global, and various other awards and prizes within the organization. She completed her master's from FRC and PG diploma in financial management from Anna University and psychology and HRM at LIBA. We are grateful to you, ma'am, for invitation. And my warm welcome to Dr. B. Vijay Kumar, Head of the Department, BCom Bank Management. My heartfelt welcome to our department faculty, Mr. Shivakumar sir, Dr. R. Sangeeta, Mrs. Kalyana Sundari, Ms. S. Vidya, and Ms. S. Sharada Bhavani, and Ms. C. Uma Mageshwari, and Mrs. Suganya, and my dear students. Students, we would be delighted to have your suggestions and questions at the end of the session. It's time for me to hand over the session to our resource person, Mrs. Uma Bhaskar ma'am, to proceed over the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Tilagavati ma'am, for the wonderful introduction. Jai Shri Krishna. And warm good afternoon to one and all present here, professors and dear students. First of all, I'm really happy to be speaking to you all today. And I'm really happy that you have chosen this subject, BCom Bank Management. So I'm sure all of you are aspiring to become future bankers. So the country's economy, future of Indian financial system is in your hands. It's all the more pertinent for you to understand the basics of Indian financial system. And I really want you to relish or thoroughly understand and start understanding the way we are very strong and the way Indian financial system is looked upon as a role model by other growing economies. I always say that Indian financial system is very strong, whoever discusses with us. So to start, before I even start the presentation, I would like to hear from you because I'm sure you have been attending a lot of guest lectures. So to the extent possible, I want this to be interactive. So in the beginning, now tell me what comes to your mind when you think of Indian financial system. Any three terminologies. I'm sure all of you know to access Mentimeter. Okay, otherwise just go to www.menti.com. Let me just share a window. Can somebody unmute and say, Tilakavati ma'am, whether the students are comfortable with Mentimeter?
Yeah, ma'am, yes.
Okay.
Are they already there?
Okay, no problem. So you can see the screen here. The question is, write any three terms relating to Indian financial system that comes to your mind instantly. And the code is also there on the screen. So just go to www.menti.com and use the code which is seen on the screen and type top three terms that come to your mind when you think of Indian financial system. Any doubt you can ask me. Indian financial system அப்படின்னு நினைச்ச உடனே உங்களுக்கு first தோன்ற three keywords. Anything related to the financial system in India. So just waiting to see your responses. Students, please go to menti.com and use the code which is seen on the screen. And once you submit, we can see your responses here. Like how the technology is undergoing a lot of evolution and change. Indian financial system also has been undergoing a lot of changes from the beginning. So to start with, let me see your responses. By this time, I'm sure many of you should have submitted. I'm not able to see any response. Are you all able to see the screen? Mohit or someone can unmute and talk, please. Am I audible?
Yes, you are,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yes, ma'am, it's audible,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
your screen is not visible now.
Pardon, any
Yeah.
issue in going to menti.com? If there's any issue, then I'll skip this because there's limited time and definitely it's precious. I'm not seeing any response on the screen. Just go to www. Thank you so much for the first person who has given widest, strongest, wisest. Okay, fine. So probably you're thinking what to type. You can even type banking or anything that comes to your mind. Whatever you feel you know about Indian financial system or what are our strengths, any terminology that comes to your mind relating to finance, you can type. Okay, so looks like one person has typed, probably a professor might have done, I think. Okay, best, good, better. Oh, you're thinking that way qualitatively. So I'm just saying any terminology that comes to your mind is fine, not about Indian digital India. Very good. Stock market, yeah, exactly. This is how I just wanted the terminologies. Digital India, stock market, good, better, best, widest, wisest, strongest, okay. Others, monthly installment, EMI, okay, loans, anything else? Tax, inflation, deflation, okay. Securities, great. இப்பதான் ஒவ்வொருத்தரா டைப் பண்ண ஆரம்பிக்கிறீங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். RBI, yes, GST, very good. So now only we are just getting into the groove of Indian financial system slowly. Okay. Others, there are more than 100 students. So I was thinking that the display itself will not be sufficient. To that extent, we'll be getting the responses is what I was expecting. And looks like only 4 or 5 have typed the responses. Others, please try. What comes to your mind? SEBI, okay, very good. Investment, great. Others, are you trying government bonds? Okay, super. Others, are you trying? Okay, fine. So let me stop sharing this. Thanks to all who have responded to this question. I just thought we should start with an interaction, and that was the purpose of asking this question and asking you to post the responses. Okay, so let me start with a little information about myself. Tilakvati madam introduced me. You know what? Basically, I didn't study commerce. Basically, I did my master's in physics in Trichy, and but the job I got first was in a bank. Okay, so my dream was to become a scientist, but I got into a bank, and I never thought I would enjoy banking so much. Okay, from day one, you know, like when we think that we are very good in science and we get into something which is totally new to us, there was a lot of excitement in learning new things. And every day I felt there was a lot of things. There were a lot of things to learn from the seniors, and banking became very interesting with customer interaction. And that is when I realized that this is where, you know, practical learning is. So of course, I still respect. I love maths and science, but whichever job you get into, whichever industry one person gets into, not only students of BBM or BBA, but any student, whoever gets into any job, has to know a bit of finance. So that is why we conduct workshops or even finance for non-finance. So just imagine an engineering person or an IT person getting into a job, an IT job or a mechanical or automobile related job, and when they grow up the ladder, and at one stage when they have to attend meetings with others, the financial jargons are totally new to them. But finance is the backbone of any organization. Without finance, we can't do anything in an organization, right? Starting from recruitment of manpower to premises, to training, administration, day-to-day operations, production, everything. For everything, basically the company needs finance. So that is why finance is the backbone of any organization. And you should really, all of you, like, you should pat on your back for having chosen this, because this is a perennial industry. So you must have seen recession in some of the industries like real estate or IT sector, but finance is some industry which can never see a recession. Food and finance can never see recession, because without which people cannot survive. Okay, so you all should be really happy about it. Either you may get into a bank, or if you get into any other job also, you may be able to better understand the financial aspects, and the financial discipline may be better followed by each and every one of you. Do you all agree with me? Let me see at least some responses on the chat. Do you all agree with me that finance is the perennial discipline, and there will always be requirement, whatever industry they start? The organization definitely needs a finance department, right? And you are all there, the future leaders in the finance sector. So looks like I'm getting the response only from Mohit. Others don't feel so. Don't you think you are into the right sector, the right course, and you're going to get into the right discipline? Are you all very happy about it? Okay, very good. And I'm sure all of you are aware about the ample scope available in the Indian financial system. Okay, so you must be knowing about the banking exams, and so it's not only the public sector banks, there are a lot of banks. Let me just share a glimpse of what Indian financial system is all about. And in parallel, you will also be able to understand that there are so many organizations where you have the employment opportunities as well. Okay, right. So now, I'm sure all of you are able to see this picture. How many of you have seen this building? Let me just... Have you all seen this building in Chennai or anywhere else? How many of you have seen? How many of you have developed interest in going and seeing this building, at least from outside? Anybody has seen? Because I've mentioned in the screen, I'm sure you will know. Okay, Abhirami has seen. Okay, good. Okay, very good. Many of you have seen. Where is it in Chennai? You know, when you get into this bank management, or when you get into a banking or finance related job, you study, you learn a lot about these institutions, and the moment you see it, you feel excited. That's why I'm starting with this picture. So this is the building of Reserve Bank of India, Chennai, and it is in the Paris corner area. If you want to really see, of course, all of you have Google Map. You can go anytime. Most of you will be having bikes also. You can just go and visit from outside. If you know somebody there, maybe you can even do an educational visit. Otherwise, you know, this is the standard structure of Reserve Bank of India, just for you to have a feel of the central bank of the country, which holds the fort for Indian financial system. So the backbone of Indian financial system is our central bank, of course, in support with the finance ministry, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. But this organization, Reserve Bank of India, holds the fort of all the banks. Even today, if you walk into any bank and speak about Reserve Bank of India, everybody listens to it, like, you know, with lot of respect. Okay, and any official from Reserve Bank of India is also looked upon with so much of respect. So who knows, probably some of you will be joining Reserve Bank of India also. And remember, there are employment opportunities there as well. Okay, so what is financial system? Financial system is like a bridge between people who have lot of money, surplus money, and people who are in need of money. Okay, so in some pockets there will be a lot of money, and some people will require money to start their business or any type of loans. Okay, so the financial system acts as the bridge between such people. And some example to instantly say are banks, non-banking financial institutions, insurance companies. Okay, so these all come under the financial system. Don't think that financial system means only banks. It also includes insurance and mutual fund too. Okay, about Indian financial system. Okay, so as I said, it is the backbone in country's economic development because for any of its activities, they need funds. The funds have to be provided if roads are to be laid, if a person has to move from one place to another, and for anything and everything for country's development, Indian financial system is like a father. Okay, that's it takes care of the developments within the country, and it not only takes care of savings and other project plans, but it also takes care of investments. Suppose at some point of time the government has surplus funds, where to invest, how to invest, for which we have team of experts as well. It links the savers, people who have the surplus money, as well as the investors. Okay, and financial markets, I'm sure all of you must have heard of, and the Indian financial system, without which we cannot, grow economically. The kind of robust Indian financial system is, I will definitely be sharing with you. And end of the session, I really want you all to feel proud about our country's financial system. And when you take Indian financial systems, there are two types: organized and unorganized sector. Organized sector is what we all know about, the banks, um, financial institutions, okay, which are regulated. Unorganized sector. What comes to your mind when you hear the word unorganized sector in the Indian financial system? Can you type your answers? What do you understand by the unorganized sector in Indian financial system? I'm just saying this for awareness, because you are doing bank management and you should be able to create awareness with people around you about the unorganized sector and the risks involved. So anything comes to your mind when you hear unorganized sector in the financial system, please type your answers, or you can unmute and say as well. Or I don't know how you follow, so you can type your answers. Very good, Mohit. Always Mohit is the only or the first person to answer. Why not others? We have around 90 participants, 90 students, self-help groups, chit funds. Okay. Any other terminology comes to your mind? Other students? I'm sure all of you are very smart. Students from DG Vaishnave, I know how smart they are. I have visited in person also twice or thrice for giving guest lectures to some other department. So, what comes to your mind when you think of unorganized sector? Let me just wait for a response from just one more student. Mohit has said chit funds, yes. Anything else? Okay, thank you, Swami. Yes, I was just waiting for this terminology. Thank you. Traders, okay, fine. So, unorganized sector, self-employed. Construction sites, oh, looks like connectivity is low. Fine. So, unorganized sector includes individuals, companies, and institutions which are not regulated, or which are not being controlled, which are not being monitored. So the best example would be money lenders, private money lenders. And you must have heard of a lot of people who pledge their jewels, who mortgage their properties for urgent money requirements, and they are not able to repay, or they get stuck in high rate of interest, compounding interest. They keep on paying, and the principal amount that they have borrowed, they are never able to repay. Okay, so unknowingly people get stuck or get caught with these unorganized sectors. So as students who are now aware of the risk involved in dealing with the unorganized sector, if someone known to you is having transaction or is availing loans or even depositing money with the unorganized sector, then we need to advise them. There are people who invest their money in chit funds and lose their money. Very recently, you must have seen about one or two even jewelers who were taking the chit funds from the customers, and they are not able to repay. So their intention is not bad, but the situation makes them unable to repay. That is what happens. Okay, so basically, we need to know the difference between organized and unorganized sector. So needless to say, it is always better to look at the organized sector. Okay, so this is the overall structure, banking structure in India. We have the commercial banks and the cooperative banks. And in commercial banks, we have the public sector, private sector banks. So one small thing which as bank management students you need to know is, okay, tell me what is a scheduled commercial bank in India? What according to you is a scheduled commercial bank in India? Can I have your answer on the chat? Don't Google. I'm sure you must have studied, because there is a misunderstanding among the people that scheduled bank means I'm waiting for your answers on the chat box. What according to you is a scheduled commercial bank? Students, RBI. Okay, any other answer? So RBI is actually, thanks for actually responding, Abhirami, I appreciate. But RBI, is like God, is the central bank of the country. It doesn't come under any classification. Okay, SBI, thank you, Rumesh. Accepting deposits and lending loans, says Mohit. Okay, fine. So இதெல்லாம் வந்து நீங்க பேங்க் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்னால யாராவது தப்பா சொன்னா நீங்க கிளாரிஃபை பண்ணணும். அதுக்காக தான் நான் சொல்றேன். What are scheduled commercial banks? Let me answer. So many think that government banks or public sector banks are the scheduled banks. Okay, so actually the banks which are mentioned in the second schedule of Reserve Bank of India are called scheduled commercial banks. Okay, so remember, never ever forget in life, scheduled commercial banks are those which are mentioned in the second schedule of Reserve Bank of India. That includes the private sector banks as well. So if a company is given banking license, it will be included in the second schedule of Reserve Bank of India. And if the license is withdrawn, it will be removed. And similarly, when there are consolidations, recently you are all gifted to see so many mergers happening in the banking system. Okay, so when 2-3 banks are merged with another bank, the parent bank alone will be seen in the schedule. And similarly, some of the banks which are not functioning well, RBI ceases to include it in the schedule. It will be removed and the circulars will be sent. So the first learning for today is a scheduled commercial bank in our Indian financial system is the one that is included in the second schedule of Reserve Bank of India. So we have the public sector banks, private sector banks, foreign banks also have their presence in India. Can you type in some of the foreign banks that are present in India that you have seen? I think this question, I'm sure all of you will be finding it easy, so you can type your responses. Okay, while you type your responses, after I joined the bank and found it very interesting, I started learning finance from zero, and they completed my CIIB, which is equivalent to CA. So took a lot of efforts to study, and when we do know something, all the more we take more interest in learning something. Okay, so that way I learned finance, and my interest in finance, it kept growing, and I constantly kept upgrading myself in finance by doing finance management or other courses relating to finance like NCFM, AMFI, etc. And so today I'm able to share the top subject with you, and I'm also a visiting professor for banking and insurance. Fine. So while you are thinking, I just gave you that piece of information because I start with the beginning of the career. Banking is really an enjoyable career, and but we should have the open mind to be into sales also. That is one message I want to give you. Okay, what happened to the question that I asked? Can you type some of the foreign banks which have their presence in India? Okay. DBL, Standard Chartered Bank, Citibank, HSBC, very good. Super, thank you so much. Okay, so India has so much of potential, and that's the reason Bank of America, Doha Bank. Oh, okay, very good. You've seen all these banks. Fine. So that S Bank is not a foreign bank. S Bank is very much an Indian new generation private sector bank. Okay, so now as bank management students, you clearly need to know which bank comes under what category, right? So, and after 1991, till 1991, we had a good set of private sector banks, which were called as the old generation private sector banks, and those include, say, Karur Vaishya Bank, Lakshmi Vilas Bank, Federal Bank. We also had Lord Krishna Bank, so many, Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank, okay, Dhanalakshmi Bank. So those banks were all called as old generation private sector banks. And after 1991, with the enhanced technology and level of customer centricity, came banks like Global Trust Bank and ICICI Bank, and there on the journey or the licenses given to new generation banks kept increasing, like Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, Kotak Mahindra, IndusInd Bank, Yes Bank. So all these come under new generation private sector banks. Okay, so why they are called new generation private sector banks is because from day one they were into high-end technology to focus on customer centricity. We also have regional rural banks which focus on rural development. Okay, so currently these are the public sector banks available. So the stake of government is more in this, so they are called the public sector banks. And after mergers of, after consolidation, I can say these are the final names of the public sector banks, and these are scheduled private sector banks. Okay, so some of the names you must be seeing here, and now you must be seeing. Okay, foreign banks, you type some of the names, you can see more names here. So while I'm showing these names, I want you to know your ample opportunities available in all these banks. Okay, so remember, every bank is constantly recruiting, and it's just that you have to approach or you have to knock at the right door. Okay, so all the banks which have their presence in India are recruiting, the private sector banks are recruiting. And there are also development banks, and some of the development banks are shown here. IFCI, IDBI, and SIDBI. Okay, and so I'm sure all of you have seen IDBI, and Agricultural Development Bank is NABARD. That, I mean, all the banks are seen in Chennai. So you're fortunate to be in Chennai. You can visit anytime you cross, you see the board, you can just peep in and see what's happening there. Exim Bank focuses on the exports and imports of companies, and National Housing Bank that focuses on housing development. We have exclusively housing finance companies also. Okay, and interestingly, in the year 2015, RBI gave license to 15 microfinance companies to function as small finance banks. So, as the name indicates, small finance banks focus on the small value lending because originally they were into microfinance. I'm sure in your syllabus you must have come across microfinance. That's really an interesting topic, subject close to my heart. But if I get into that, I have very limited time, and so we may get distracted. So I'm not touching about microfinance, but companies, microfinance companies, which have run profitably for around 20 years, making profits, were given banking license to do. To function as banks, and they are called small finance banks. And so you must be seeing many banks in Chennai. All these banks have their presence in Chennai, like ESAF, Janalakshmi, Equitas, Ujjivan, all these banks I'm sure you must have seen. There's another category of banks which are called the payment banks in India. So if you take companies like Reliance, okay, or even for that post office, which was earlier called now India Post, they have their own payment requirements, NSDL. So their own payment transactions itself mounts to huge numbers. So such institutions were given the license of payment banks. Here, they don't focus on the day-end balances. They only focus on the revenue from day-to-day transactions done by the customers. So those are called the payment banks. The small finance banks and payment banks were given license in the year 2015. So that is again an avenue for your employability. And in years to come, RBI definitely will be giving more and more license to such institutions. So ample opportunities are available. That's what I'm coming to say here. And regional rural banks, as the name suggests, it aims at giving credit facilities to small and marginal farmers in the rural areas, agricultural laborers, artisans, small scale industries, small entrepreneurs, etc. So just for a change, I wanted to show you this picture. This is the paper currency which was first issued in India in the 18th century by Government of India. Looks interesting, isn't it? I just saw it somewhere. So in the year 1861, this has been issued. 20 rupees in 1861 definitely must be equal to a huge sum now. Okay. And so this is our currency. I am sure all of you know that this is our currency, but how many of us know to write it? We still use the symbol RS dot, right? So I think we have to start changing our habits to the new symbol of rupee. And Indian rupee INR it is called as in the global scenario, is one of the powerful tradable currencies, and these are the top 8 tradable currencies of other countries and their banking regulators. So just for you to have a glimpse. Other than our currency, these are the top traded currencies and the corresponding central banks. So always remember this symbol. This is what denotes our rupee, but we don't remember most of the times. Fine. We are talking about Indian financial system, and if you ask how we are able to be so strong, and we have heard about many economies collapsing, we need not even think about it because our Indian financial system is very robust and strong to the extent it can withstand the challenges that's happening across the globe as well. So constantly, if you ask what the central government is focusing on, in any country for that matter, it focuses on financial stability. So to ensure that things go wrong, we have a set of regulators So Indian financial system is held intact by these top six regulators. First, of course, for the banks is Reserve Bank of India, which is the central bank of the country. Then, securities market by SEBI, insurance by IRDA. Then we also have mutual funds being regulated by um, AMFI, Association of Mutual Funds in India. So if somebody wants to sell mutual funds, also they have to qualify this exam. Now it is called NISM. NISM. So probably when you are doing this course, um, I'm sure some of you must be knowing it, but well before your campus interview, it would be good if you clear this NISM exam. That will be an added brownie point in your interview. And the Ministry of Corporate Affairs governs the regulations for companies. And we also have the Pension Funds Regulatory Development Authority, which manages the pension funds like NPS schemes, etc. So, with which the country is able to invest and generate revenue. And of course, ensure that it reaches the common man for he can enjoy it in his retirement stage as well. Okay, so Reserve Bank of India is called the apex monetary institution. Okay, and SEBI, yeah, we have just seen the names, and IRDA governs insurance sector, and both Reserve Bank as well as the insurance sector, they have something called ombudsman, where the customer's grievances can be taken forward. So suppose you have a grievance with an insurance company or with a bank, and you find no solution there, you can always um, take your concern to ombudsman, who will be able to sort it out. So just for you to get familiar with the terminology, I'm touching on that. Okay, so who controls Indian financial system? Of course, RBI is the apex institution, and the main legislation that governs commercial banks in India is called the Banking Regulation Act. So some of the acts also we need to be familiar with. So it's also called as the BARE Act, BARE, Banking Regulation Act 1949. That only has the definition of banking itself. I'm sure you must have read it in your syllabus also. So the very definition of banking itself is given only by the Banking Regulation Act, Section 5B, Banking Regulation Act 1949. And we have the RBI Act 1934, okay, according to which RBI's two major functions are monetary control and banking supervision. RBI also acts as a banker to banks. So it's literally like a godfather. So when we don't have money, we go for borrowing to banks. When banks don't have money, naturally they have to look for Reserve Bank of India, and hence RBI is called the lender of last resort. Okay, and if you ask the top secret how banks are stable in India, it's because of the CRR and SLR mechanism, the repo rate and the reverse repo rates, which are being controlled by Reserve Bank of India. Okay, we can talk at length about all the four, but I'm just throwing the seed of thought to you. Probably you can take time to understand what it is all about. Let me just touch upon that, what it is. Okay, RBI was established in 1935 under RBI Act 1934. Since then, RBI is the central bank of the country, and he is the current RBI governor. So if you look at this phase, you should be able to immediately identify. Being in this course, we have to know certain things, like if somebody is doing maths, they need to know algebra, Pythagoras theorem, etc. And if somebody is in physics, naturally they have to know Newton's laws of motion. So when you are in the banking course, you need to know about the banking system in India. You need to know what RBI does, and who is our RBI governor, what are these CRR, SLR, repo, reverse repo rates, and how is it possible for the Indian financial system to be so strong, and how is it that other countries are looking up to us as a role model economy. So our country's top priority. So that's why after showing Reserve Bank, I'm just showing you these points. The country's top priority is Like how we say for a human man, it is pursuit of happiness, it is pursuit of financial stability. Okay, and changes in the institutional architecture. You must be wondering why, as though they don't have a job, they keep combining the banks. That is, they keep consolidating the banks. Okay, it is all to ensure uh, that when a bank is not doing well, the funds of common public should be protected. So that is why they do a lot of research goes in this, not just like that somebody picks up by lot and then combines the banks. No, the financials are studied thoroughly, and then the banks are chosen to be consolidated to ensure that the weak banks do not let the customers down, or do not let the country's economy down, reputation wise and quantitatively also. We also have the financial FSDC, that's the Financial Stability Development Council. We, as common people, we are not aware what is happening to hold our financial system intact. So these things are happening at the central level. We have the finance to ensure financial stability of the Indian financial system. We have these FSDC, a committee, a council under the leadership of the finance minister and under the chairmanship of Reserve Bank of India governor. It is fully functional. They have been constantly meeting and devising plans to ensure that our Indian financial system is stable. Okay, fine. So about Indian financial system, as I said, what we need to feel proud of is we are TBTF. TBTF means we are too big to fail. Okay, Indian economy, Indian financial system is a robust financial system, and some here and there, small, what to say, um, troubles or small bubbles or small shakes like earthquakes here and there, the earth is still intact, right? Similarly, the Indian financial system is so strong. So here and there, problems happening cannot shake us. Okay, we may slightly tremble, but we can quickly come back to equilibrium because of the strong regulations we have. We can withstand any global shocks. So now you must have seen in lots of WhatsApp forwards about the news that's happening in the real estate companies in China, and lot of media news about how it may impact us, etc. So let us wait and watch, then you will get to know how strong and robust we are. Role model financial system we are, which other countries send their committees to study how we are managing our financial system. And we have many shock absorbers in the financial system, and even CRR, SLR are such, and there are other institutions as well. And NBFCs are very much in control now. Like how you heard many years back, suddenly you will be getting news that in the finance company Dival Aidichu, in the company chip company Play Aidichu. So we used to get a lot of unpleasant news about NBFCs. Now NBFCs are also regulated, and strict contingent measures are in place. And for every citizen, every common man, unauthorized cash transactions are prohibited. So when the government announces such schemes, it may be irritating to the common man. Okay, I repeat, friends, you are all studying bank management, so you need to understand the significance of every financial change or policy change that is introduced by the government. Okay, so there are lots of media hypes about starting from demonetization, GST, then consolidation of banks. Whenever government announces a measure, immediately there are a lot of criticisms. Okay, so we need, as students of bank management, you need to brainstorm. So whenever a change is announced by the government, I really suggest departments to organize, or even within you, friends, you can sit and brainstorm. You discuss about lot of movies and a lot of web series, games, etc. in groups, right? So for a change in between, you can also bring a topic like this, why the government has brought in this, what do we think about it. Do have this habit of brainstorming, so that you will get to understand the real root cause. the real reason behind such practices or such changes being announced by the country. So all accounts are linked to PAN, so there cannot be any unauthorized transaction. So now people who have observed buying and selling of properties in your families would have realized earlier there used to be a lot of black money transactions in the system. Now nothing can be done, and people are also scared to do this because their their PAN number is linked to their accounts, and it's very difficult to spend huge sums of money without disclosing your PAN number. So RBI, it asks for a lot of returns. Returns is nothing but MIS reports to be submitted by the banks to ensure periodically, some fortnightly, some monthly, quarterly, half yearly, banks have to constantly keep reporting to Reserve Bank of India to say, hey, we are safe. Okay, we have been doing our business diligently. We have been ethical. We have been following the norms which is given by you to ensure that our financial system is safe. So this way, RBI has a very strong eye on the financial system. And let me just touch upon what a CRR SLR. CRR is nothing but the percentage of total deposits, demand and time liabilities a bank has to have with the Reserve Bank of India. And similarly, statutory liquidity ratio is apart from cash in the form of bullions like gold or other approved securities, the banks have to keep some portion. It is like I'm doing a lot of business, but a portion of it I want to retain as security so that in case of emergency, I can withdraw and use it. So that is the concept behind CRR and SLR. A portion of the bank's deposits is kept as a cushion, as a reserve with Reserve Bank of India by every bank, and the percentage has to be maintained. And depending on the liquidity to be adjusted within the economy, RBI increases or decreases CRR and SLR. Similarly, repo and reverse repo rates. Repo rate is the rate at which RBI lends money to the banks. Okay, so when RBI lending rate to the banks is lesser, the banks will have surplus funds. Or when RBI wants the banks to be flushed with funds, it will reduce the repo rates. As simple as that. So simple logic. So if you understand the CRR, SLR, reverse repo mechanisms, you can really be able to relate whenever the announcement comes in the news. Okay, so let me finish with some of the challenges in the Indian financial system. Okay, so the asset quality is a big concern in the financial system, particularly in the banking sector, because of the bad loans. The ethical standards of people are coming down, and hence the repayments are not happening as it used to happen in earlier days. In earlier days, people used to even hesitate to go and borrow. So they will also always believe in saving the money and then building the house. So if you go and talk to your great grandfathers or grandfathers, they will say, "Loan adala nang edutade illa." They will wait for accumulating funds, or they will wait for their savings to grow up to that level, or they will wait for the retirement and then only buy a house. Okay, and which will be preserved for generations. But now times have changed, and the moment you get into the job, you go for the loans. So at some stage, the liability goes up, and if you lose the job, the person is not able to pay the money. So you're all youngsters. When you get into a job, be very mindful and careful about the loans that you take, and it indirectly helps the Indian financial system also if we repay correctly. Okay, any type of loan, there have been a lot of willful defaulters. So willful defaulters are those who are financially okay, but they don't want to repay. They give some kind of lame reasons to cheat the economy or by not repaying. And unhedged forex exposure. So there has been a lot of fluctuations in the currency rates, which is not exactly accounted in the forex transactions. And we also have frequent cultural shifts, increasing competitions in the banking industry, regulatory compliance every day is becoming very tight, and rising expectations from the customers as well, and changing business models to suit the requirements. Say, for example, 10 years back, what banking was, how our financial system was, everything was manual. And suddenly we have moved to total transformation. And during Corona, one good thing that has happened is every common man learned to use the technology. So everybody now uses the mobile app, everybody uses the ATM if they want cash, and everybody wants to restrict the use of cash. Okay, so to the extent possible, if you go to a small vendor also, they accept payments on Paytm, right? Google Pay. So to anyone you want to transfer the money, you immediately ask, do you have Google Pay? Or you try to transfer the funds through IMPS, right? So technology has really helped, but the investment in technology has to happen frequently because the customer wants more and more convenience. And in future, if you see, the banks may not have even manpower, and maybe having just one or two persons, and everything will be on auto mode. Okay, so you just go, and robots will be there in banks. And now itself, some of the banks have robots. I have the first bank we introduced is actually, you will be happy and surprised to know, it's City Union Bank that introduced first robot. Its name is Lakshmi. If you are interested, you can go to their website and see Lakshmi. It's a robo which can even answer your queries. Okay, so a rate of interest or anything that you want to ask by way of query to the robot, it will be able to answer. So voice recognition is going to be the future immediately. And so we will have human beings replaced by machines to do all the jobs. Only for the human touch we will need still people to be there controlling and managing things. So because of complete mechanization, definitely security firewalls, that's again a big challenge. So while we are constantly, the Indian financial system is technologically very sound now, but there are also fraudsters who are parallelly, becoming more brilliant, how to find loopholes and to make the transactions unsafe. So even if one person faces such a threat, everybody becomes scared. It's like in a particular street, if there is a chain theft, then everybody will be scared to walk into that street after 6 o'clock. So now, if you see, even many educated people, some people I've heard them saying, "No, I don't want to use GPay. I've seen this problem for a friend, etc." So, as bank management students, it's your duty to make the common people understand. First, we need to learn and understand about the significance of the policy changes that's introduced by the government every now and then. We need to understand and also make the common people understand, because we need to be dynamic if we have to grow. Okay, whether it is in your personal profession, that is in your personal career, or in the country's economy, we need to be very alert and dynamic and constantly adapting to the requirements or the changing requirements of the customers, changing needs of the public, of the companies. And we have to be always uh, in pace with the advancements that is happening at the global level, because all countries are certainly looking up to us. And we have major IT firms are in India, you know that. And the top leaders of the IT firms across the globe are also Indians. So we have a great reputation, and the Indian financial system also has a great reputation among other growing economies. Despite the criticisms that we receive from some countries and from the media, we have been constantly growing, and it is in the hands of future economic leaders, that is each and every one of you who is out here listening to me, how you seriously learn, understand, and adapt to the changing economic system lies the success and stability of Indian financial system. So time is up, and hence I still have lots to share, but let me close with this. Tilakavati ma'am, I think I've taken few minutes more. I'm sorry.
That's okay, ma'am. No issue. No issue.
Okay, so I'm stopping the presentation. If you have any questions relating to the Indian financial system, you can ask about your opportunities, anything you can ask. Okay, was the session useful? Did you get some information about Indian financial system, friends? At least for that, you can give some answer in the chat. I'll be happy to see before I log out. Okay, thank you, Monish, Pooja. All of you need to strongly equip yourself about this basic information of Indian financial system. Okay. Rohit is asking where can we see Indian financial system in the next 5 years? That's a very generic question, Rohit, but still, I'm happy you asked the question. Certainly, as of now, India is among the uh, leading economies, and I'm sure it will be in the first two positions in 5 years. And we would have become even stronger. The rupee value would have become stronger, is what I feel. Okay, thank you, students. So for my final question, you have given me the answer. That gives me a lot of satisfaction. Okay, something I am able to share with you out of my little knowledge and experience. Remember, you need to be very strong in the foundation of finance, because you have done this course. In whichever job you go, it will really help you. It will be distinguishing you by way of knowledge and expertise compared to others. So keep updating yourself constantly. Keep watching the news, read newspapers, or even watch the news, or uh, get the updates. Some people have the habit of sending financial updates also. And whenever you have doubts, please do brainstorming. Talk to your professors. They are all ready to share information with you. It's just that you have to show interest. Otherwise, you can form groups, and among your groups, when you talk about 10 things, at least 1 out of 10 can be something related to our Indian economy. Okay, because ultimately it is going to impact every household, it is going to impact every citizen. Okay, our comfort lies in the health of Indian financial system. So is it very important. Thank you, Mohit. Sure, definitely, I am ready anytime. So wish you all the best to become future financial leaders in whichever industry you get into. Wish you all the best. And
Thank
thank you.
you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now we reach the end of the session. I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence. On the behalf of the institution, I extend my gratitude to our honorable resource person, Mrs. Uma Baskar, to take over time from a busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. You started with that evolution of banking to until that Lakshmi robot. Thank you so much. Sincere gratitude to Sri Ashok Kumar Muntra, Secretary of our college, and my profound gratitude to Dr. S. Santosh Babu, Principal of our college, and my gratitude to Dr. B. Vijay Kumar, Head of the Department, BCom Bank Management, for his extreme support to organize a webinar. My warm regards to our department faculties for your presence. Thank you, students. Thank you for your participants. And I hope this webinar will be very useful for your future 8 hours. Thank you, students. Thank you for the students who did their chat and be very interactive in this session. And thank you for your patience. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, students.
Thank you, ma'am. May I log out?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Students, kindly fill your feedback form. Students, kindly fill your feedback form.